0 o'clock to 0:15. Picture this. A dense, rain-soaked forest, mist clinging to ancient trees, and a lone hiker, Sarah, pushing through the downpour. She was miles from civilization, seeking solitude, but what she found would change her life and challenge everything we think we know about the world. This isn't just another hiking story. It's a tale of compassion, mystery, and an encounter with the impossible. At 0:15 to 1 o'clock, the rain had been relentless for hours. Sarah, an experienced outdoorswoman, was starting to feel the chill seep into her bones. She decided to take shelter under a rocky overhang, wringing out her soaked gloves. That's when she heard a faint, whimpering sound, almost lost in the drumming of the rain. It wasn't the cry of a deer or a fox. It was something different, something strangely familiar yet utterly alien. Curiosity overpowering her caution, she followed the sound deeper into the thicket, her heart pounding with a mix of fear and intrigue. 1 o'clock to 1:45, hidden beneath a giant fern, huddled against the cold, wet earth, was a small creature. At first, Sarah thought it might be a bear cub, but as she drew closer, she froze. It was covered in matted, dark fur, but its face was astonishingly humanoid. It had large, expressive brown eyes that blinked slowly, filled with pain and confusion. It was shivering violently, its breaths coming in ragged, shallow gasps. It looked like a baby, but a baby of what? The stories, the legends, the blurry photographs, it all clicked into place. She was looking at a baby Bigfoot. 1:45 to 2:30, every instinct for self-preservation screamed at her to run. If there was a baby, surely a motherer, very protective mother was nearby. She scanned the surrounding woods, her senses on high alert, but saw nothing but swaying trees and falling rain. She looked back at the small creature. It let out another weak cry, a sound so full of misery that it pierced right through her fear. Its fur was caked with mud, and one of its legs was bent at an unnatural angle. It was clearly injured and sick. How could she just walk away? At 2:32, 3:15, Sarah's training as a wilderness first responder kicked in. She knew she couldn't leave it to perish in the storm. Setting down her pack, she pulled out her emergency blanket and a small first aid kit. Slowly, cautiously, she approached the creature, speaking in a soft, soothing voice. "Hey there, little one. It's okay. I'm not going to hurt you." The baby Bigfoot flinched at first, trying to drag itself away, but it was too weak. Its big, dark eyes watched her every move, not with aggression, but with a deep, weary sadness. 3:15 to 4 o'clock, gently, she wrapped the emergency blanket around its small, trembling body. It was surprisingly light. She examined its leg, confirming it was broken. It was a clean break, but it needed to be set. Using a couple of sturdy twigs and some medical tape from her kit, she fashioned a makeshift splint. The creature whimpered in pain as she worked, but it didn't fight her. It seemed to understand, on some primal level, that she was trying to help. Its body temperature was dangerously low. She had to get it warm and fast. 4 o'clock to 4:45, the thought of bringing it back to her cabin was insane. What would she do with it? How would she explain it? But the alternative, leaving it here to die, was unthinkable. Her heart made the decision her head was still arguing with. Carefully, she scooped the bundled creature into her arms. It was like holding a small, furry child. It nestled against her chest, seeking her warmth, and its shivering began to subside just a little. With her new, precious cargo held securely, Sarah began the treacherous hike back to her remote cabin. 4:45 to 5:30, back at the cabin, the warmth of the fireplace was a welcome relief. Sarah laid the baby Bigfoot on a soft pile of blankets near the hearth. She managed to get a little warm water and electrolytes into it using a dropper. She named him Moss for the soft green forest floor where she found him. For the next few days, her life revolved around nursing this impossible creature back to health. She fed him a mixture of mashed berries, roots, and warm milk, things she hoped a baby cryptid might eat. Slowly, miraculously, he began to recover. 5:30 to 6:15, Moss was an incredible being. He was intelligent, curious, and gentle. He would watch her with those soulful eyes, mimicking her movements. He learned to take food from her hand, and sometimes he would make soft, cooing sounds, almost like he was trying to communicate. Their bond grew stronger with each passing day. Sarah found herself talking to him for hours, sharing her thoughts and fears. In this strange, secret world they had created, she felt a connection she had never experienced before. 6:15 to 7 o'clock, but the secret was a heavy burden. She knew she couldn't keep him forever. He was a wild creature and a member of a species that the world wasn't ready for. The thought of scientists wanting to capture him, to study him, to put him in a cage, was horrifying. He belonged in the forest, with his own kind. She also worried constantly about his family. Were they searching for him? Were they grieving? The mother's absence was a mystery that troubled her deeply. At 7 o'clock to 7:45, as Moss grew stronger, his wild instincts began to surface. He'd stare out the window for hours, his gaze fixed on the deep woods. He would practice walking on his splinted leg, growing more confident each day. Sarah knew her time with him was coming to an end. It was a bittersweet realization. She had saved his life, but to truly save him, she had to let him go. She had to give him back to the wilderness where he belonged. 7:45 to 8:31, clear, crisp morning. About 2 weeks after she found him, Sarah knew it was time. Moss's leg was almost fully healed, and he was energetic and alert. With a heavy heart, she prepared a small bundle of his favorite berries. She carried him back to the exact spot where she had found him. She unwrapped his splint, and he tested his leg, putting his full weight on it without a problem. He was ready. 8:30 to 9:15, she knelt down and looked into his eyes. "Okay, Moss," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "It's time to go home. Be safe out there, little guy. He looked back at her, a look of pure understanding in his gaze. He reached out a small hand and gently touched her cheek, a gesture so human it made her tear up. Then he turned and, with one last look back, limped slowly but steadily into the dense forest, disappearing into the shadows. At 9:15 to 10 o'clock, Sarah stood there for a long time, listening, until the only sound was the wind in the trees. She never saw Moss again. But sometimes, when she's hiking deep in those woods, she finds a small, perfectly arranged pile of pine cones or a unique, shimmering feather left on the trail. She likes to think they're gifts, little messages from the friend she made in the rain. Her encounter with the impossible taught her that compassion has no boundaries and that the world is filled with more wonders than we can possibly imagine, hiding just out of sight. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more incredible tales from the edge of our world. See you next time.